Hey everybody, AJ McCorder here with the Hobie BOS Open Series, and we're doing Boss Talk tonight. We had the Cali Delta this weekend out there, and we had 50 anglers, and it was a little tough out there. Heat, conditions, throwing some anglers some curveballs, but we had 3 anglers show out, and so we're going to talk to those guys tonight. We're going to introduce them to the rest of the country. I'm sure that they're fairly, they've participated some, or maybe it was their first event. We'll get into that a little bit, but they got first, second, and third in the Hobie BOS Open Series, and we're going to figure out how they did it, and we're going to hear about their days, and we're going to see what the future holds for these 3 anglers. So we've got Daniel Balaba. Daniel, you are the winner of the Hobie BOS Open Series. How's it going, man?
It's good. Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Tell everybody where you're from.
San Bruno, California.
All right. And our second place angler, Pua Yang. How's it going, man?
Hey, pretty good now.
Tell everybody where you are from or where you're talking to us from tonight.
So I reside in Elk Grove, California.
All right. And our third place finisher, John Meyers. John, where do you reside? Where are you from?
So I live in Atwater, California, and it's about an hour from Stockton, 2 hours from Sacramento, south of Lowell.
Okay. So for somebody like myself and probably many of our followers, when we kind of dive into talking to you guys individually, kind of tell us where you are as it relates to the Delta or a section of the Delta, and how that may be translated into where you fished or how you fished. So I'm going to start with Daniel. Daniel was our day one leader, had a solid limit of 94.5 inches. I don't care what body of water you were on in August. If you put 94.5 inches on the board, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Followed that up on day 2 with he followed that up with 86.5. Was our second largest total on day 2, and he had a total inches of 181 even. That is a little better than an 18-inch average. That is strong this time of year. But I'll let Daniel tell us, is that strong for the Delta? Were you surprised at that size, or was that kind of the fish that you were able to be on this weekend?
I was surprised. Like, this is like my first, I guess, big event, kayak event. I mean, I've been doing the Wild West Bass, but I don't know, like the Hobie event here is like on another level. I didn't realize it was like a national thing. I just saw Hobie. Yeah, I had a buddy, Max, he was like, "Hey man, you're gonna do the BOS," and I was like, "It's on the Delta," and I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So signed up last minute. You know, I've been fishing the Delta going back probably 15 years at least. I started out fishing with the I mean bank fishing, throwing frogs off the bank. Uh, Pretty much that's how I started. I got a map, a fishing map, and everywhere in the Delta that I could get on, you know, where it was public access. I mean, I've been north, south, I mean, west, east. I mean, everywhere, just everywhere I could get in. Um, I don't know. The Delta is like my home. I love this body of water. There's big fish here. Yeah, I mean, it's out in the sticks. It's just weird, man. You know, you just meet all kinds of weird people living on the water. I had a lady pull out a shotgun on me a couple times, you know, for going next to her dock, accusing somebody that looked like me of stealing her weed. You know, that's probably the strangest situation I've had. Besides maybe hooking a couple of like otters and you know punching,
killing her weed. What's going on there?
Yeah, right. Yeah, she was real protective of her weed. Yeah, so yeah, I love the Delta. I've fished float tube, pontoon, kick boat derbies for probably 14, 15 years with bass and tubes. It's an awesome club. You can really learn how to fish. That's where I cut my teeth in the tube, you know, fishing against those guys. A lot of great sticks over there, guys that really know the Delta, and had success. That's kind of my story. You know,
that's awesome, man. That's cool. What's that?
Oh, and I pretty much I've lived in Oakland. I mean, I'm 42, but I lived in Oakland probably like 28 years of my life. I just moved over here to San Bruno the last 3 years, so you know, I was a little closer to the Delta. It was a little easier to get over there. But yeah, okay. No, I didn't expect to do this good. You know, I just kind of went out there and tried to get them.
Okay, well, we'll dive in on how your days went here in just a little bit. That's an awesome backstory from bank fishing to tube fishing to kayaks, man. I mean, that's kind of our story. You know, kayak anglers, we use kayaks to get all over the place, and now we've got these tournament series and things like that allow us to kind of flourish underneath it. But at the end of the day, we're all just trying to find the best way to get out there on the water and sometimes get in places that other people can't. So that's an awesome story. We're going to jump over to Pua. Pua, what's where are you located as it relates to the Delta? And did I see you say that this is one of your first tournaments as well?
Yeah, that's correct, AJ. So this is my first kayak tournament ever. And when I heard that Hobie was coming to the Delta, I just knew that I had to do it. I mean, I knew that the guys that were going to be doing it were going to be hammers, that they fished the Delta, you know, pretty much, if not every day, every other day, or, you know, every chance they get. So for me, it is kind of like my backyard too. I'm up here in Elk Grove, which is the more northern part of the Delta. And, you know, I get out there as much as I can too, probably once a week if I can. And yeah, I just got my kayak, my 2020 Outback, like a couple months ago, and I was just like, man, Hobie's coming to the Delta. I'm gonna have to do it.
Man, that is awesome, man. Normally, you know, people on their first big tournament have a little bit of a learning curve, you know, sometimes measuring fish or getting to cooperate or using the app. But I got to admit, man, you know, we were communicating throughout the event and before the event. and your communication was on point. I would have never guessed that you were a rookie, man, and you went out there and you put it out, and that's awesome, dude. I'd have to imagine that you might be slightly hooked on competitive kayak fishing at this point, right?
Oh yeah, man. I've always I've done big bass boat tournaments before too, and it really is an addiction. I mean, the competitiveness of it really drives most guys, if not all guys, that compete.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, in third place, we got John Meyers, and I got a feeling that John Meyers' story is a little different. I don't think this is John's first rodeo. John, tell us a little bit about your story, man, and how you ended up fishing with us this past weekend.
Yeah, I started fishing years ago on the Merced River, which actually flows in the San Joaquin River, which actually is part of the Delta. And I basically learned where fish would position themselves on the river, how they would get in the current. But anyways, I've been competitively bass fishing since 1986. I live an hour and a half away from March Lane, which is in Stockton, and normally I'll launch there. I launched at Big Break both days. It's a good 2-hour drive for me. To my surprise, I was the only one at the launch ramp the first day and the second day. I did a lot of homework. I launched over in Dells Harbor. I fished over the levee. I fished south. I tried areas where Pua did well. I didn't do so well. I finally decided, I fished the central north, White Slough, disappointment. I fished the central part in Frank's Track. And I did a lot of pre-fishing there too. Really wasn't real impressed. And then, I had a bass tournament the Saturday before our tournament. And I told my team partner, I said, hey, we're going to Big Break and we're going to go check it out. He goes, we're going to go pre-fishing for your kayak tournament? I said, yep. Well, we ended up in fourth place. We had 15 and a half pounds. I was really happy with it. Caught, 30 fish, 25, 30 fish. Caught a 4.5, which was nice, all on chatterbaits. The tide went out and we left, and we had to be back at noon. But I love the Delta. I love the way you fish it. You got 10 feet of line out. You basically, 65-pound test, 20-pound test. You're up close and personal with the fish, and it's a lot of fun fishing that way. The weekend before, I fished Saturday, Sunday. I fished Wild West on Sunday at Don Pedro, and I was throwing tubes in 30 to 40 feet of water. Then I worked all week and went and fished Saturday, Sunday at Hobie. And I found out Hobie through a buddy of mine. You got to fish the BOS at a Hobie, and I said, okay, what's that? And he goes, it's the best tournament for kayaks that you could fish. And anyways, 2 years ago, a buddy of mine, Steve Mealander, introduced me into kayak fishing. I was hooked. Very first time out, I was hooked. I loved it. You're up close and personal. You're one-on-one with the fish. You're not competing against anybody else but the fish. And I really like that a lot. That's a lot of fun. There's no better experience than being in a kayak and bass fishing, especially in tournaments.
Well, I think it's awesome that pretty much all of you all were talked into, fishing this event, or had something kind of occur. You didn't know that this was a thing. And then you guys just showed up. You're like, heck yeah, man, I'm gonna get out there. And you showed up and showed out. And, that's pretty awesome. Definitely excited for you guys. Now, for those that aren't familiar, and for you guys, obviously COVID this year has kind of changed the way that we are able to run tournaments. Our events are really about the experience of the anglers. Obviously, the 10% is going to get paid, and we try to pay out as well as we can. But there's so many other anglers that don't go home with anything. And so we tried to build an experience around our tournaments. And really this year we haven't been able to do that outside of our first couple. And everyone's been kind of working within the same situation. Well, California got a little bit more challenging for us. And so I was operating as the director sitting in a barn in Tennessee, and you guys are out there dealing with all sorts of wild conditions over the course of 2 days on the Delta. And the Delta is a vast area. It really takes up a lot of different, just a large land mass that those waters run through. And, there's a lot of challenges getting to different areas and things like that. And, I felt so disconnected from you guys. And so it was definitely challenging for me to run it, but I'm sure it was challenging for you guys as well, because there was no kind of base of operation. There was no, official meetings or anybody there officially. And I just appreciate you guys working within that and understanding the restraints that we were having, and still really just going fishing, which is kind of the root of the whole deal. So appreciate you guys. And then now we're going to kind of go into the fishing aspect. So Daniel, obviously you are our winner, man. You had 2 awesome limits. One of the biggest limits that we've seen in many tournaments, honestly, with the summer bite and some of the challenging fisheries that we've been to. What were your winning ways? What kind of rod reel were you using? What bait? What line? What was your key components to cash in a check for $32.80 in a kayak tournament?
So I used a punch rig to catch most of my fish. My 2 biggest fish came on a punch, and it was just, it was just fishing. This is the bait I was using right here. It's just a 1.5 ounce D-bomb with the
Dying.
green pumpkin red skirt. You want to see it a little more?
That's it.
Yeah. That looks good.
That did the damage. The bigger fish, except for one chatterbait fish, the punch. I upgraded my catch on this bait. That's pretty much what I use. Let's see, chatterbait. Yeah, I use that on a Powell 795, like an old Endurance 795. It's like the punch rod / A-rig rod.
Okay. Okay, 65-pound braid on there, or a little heavier?
Oh, 50.
50. Okay.
Yeah. And then my cranking setup, little custom colored BDS3, 15-pound test, 6-to-1 gear ratio, glass rod. That caught some fish day 1. Day 2, didn't really work, and I got it hooked up in the plant here. And
Hey Daniel.
yeah, what's up?
General question: which part of the Delta were you fishing at?
I was fishing south of Mildred.
Okay.
You
South Central.
You were punching the milfoil and hydrilla, or the?
No, it was hyacinth.
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 They really wanted the hyacinth.
Yeah.
Every once in a while there was like some primrose.
Yeah.
There was sparse primrose where it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were if that was even a factor. I caught like a 20-incher out of just bare hyacinth. I think it was the hyacinth. That's what they really wanted. I could say like grass. Another part, the grass was there, and that was key too. And it could have been, but like I said, on one of my spots, it was just bare hyacinth. There could have been a piece of wood under it, and there could have been a fish suspended in that wood. And when it came through the mat, I could like jet it out and grab it. I don't know. That was like last minute, and with like a minute to go, so it's not like I didn't really check to see if that pattern was still going. So, and then this is the chatterbait setup I was throwing. It was on 15-pound test, heavy glass rod. You know, it's, what is this? This is the jackhammer, swim and Senko.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Now,
it.
was that was your main pattern through both days, kind of switching up between those baits, or did it kind of shift throughout the day, or then to day two?
Yeah, so day one, I got reaction fish. I had a piece of wood where there were some crankbait fish. They were schooled on it. Like I got I don't know, like 2 or 3 off of it. Missed another one like right at the boat. I think I swung on it and just didn't get the hooks on it. You know, like ate it right at the boat. So I mean that pattern didn't play. You know, day two, I went there the same tide. You know, day two, and I didn't get anything there. I caught 1 or 2 chatterbait fish. The second day, that whole morning till about 11 was pretty weak. Like I just couldn't put them in the boat. I might have had 2 fish before 11. I just kept on going with the chatterbait, hoping to get a bigger bite. I saw these, you know, the storm was in, dark clouds. You know, it was windy. I was like, oh man, it's chatterbait time. You know, they're going to be eating it. But
Oh yeah,
I mean, not for me. That just wasn't the case for me. So I mean, you know, I put it down. The water got low, and I started punching. I had a couple of key areas. I had two of the bigger ones came off a piece of wood. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hyacinth, you know, real close to the channel, to the drop off into the channel. Current was, you know, was blown by it.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you catching a lot of fish? I mean, did you, or were you just happy to get your 5? How did that play out for you?
Day one, I probably had 10 or 12. I don't know, maybe 10 to 15. 10 to 15, but day two, I might have had 10.
Okay.
So I wasn't catching a ton of fish, you know, I don't know. Maybe if I would have punched earlier, I would have caught a lot more. But
Okay.
No big numbers.
All right.
Just
Well,
got
that's strong, man. It's impressive. Now, Pua, how did your day one go? I mean, you had kind of upper 70s on day one. You're sitting kind of pushing like right outside the top 20, or right inside the top 20. What happened on day one, and then what did you adjust to day two to make a big jump?
Yeah, so day one, my first initial spot that I was supposed to work, the gates were closed at that area, so I couldn't get in. And
hold on. I'm gonna stop you there. So what does that actually mean? To somebody that's not from the Delta, I mean, you're on the water. There's a place you want to go fish, but somebody along the way said, nope, gates closed, nobody in or out. How does that work?
That was the weirdest thing to me too, because I've pre-fished that area that week too, and it was open at like 4 a.m. And then for whatever reason, that day one, I went there and the gates were closed, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me, right?
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna just park here and hopefully get a ticket, but go ahead and fish anyways, and take it down to the ramp, take the kayak down to the ramp, or what do I do? So I was pondering there for about 15-20 minutes, and I was like, you know what? I can't be wasting time anymore. I'm gonna go to my secondary spot, and good thing I didn't unpack, because I almost did. And then I ran down to my secondary spot, and it was already horrible for me already. Got there, unloaded. During the fishing, the actual fishing, a lost fish. This being my first tournament, my first competitive, my first kayak tournament, a lot of fish came off the board while measuring, and just missend the hook, and overall day one, it was a horrible day for me in my books, and I was lucky enough to scratch away with that 77 and a quarter. So it was a crazy ride for me that day one, but going into day two and day one, I sped up fishing a lot. I was power fishing a lot, so I kind of just I burned a lot of water that I really should have slowed down, and that was the difference maker on day two. I was gonna gamble with trying to go back to my first original spot and kind of gamble with the gate being open. But I was like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I'm just gonna go back and honestly just go fishing. And I went back and the wind started picking up halfway there. I mean, we saw lightning on the way there. So I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Let's just go there because that's the spot I'm comfortable with, and launched off. And the wind slowly calmed down as it came down. Came time to lines in, and I just fished really slow, and I picked everything apart, and it just the fish were there. The 220 pluses that I caught, they were there, and along with the 16 and the 18 that was there, it was all on one stretch for me.
Well, so what was your what was your juice, man? Like what we got all the baits from Daniel, but you kind of left all that out. So
yeah. So no, I'm gonna share that with everyone. So a spinnerbait for me for running it through sparse grass, sparse hydrilla when it allowed me to, and that caught one of the 20 inchers, and then the other 20 incher came off a punching. And I was punching. One of the key targets for punching for me was the mixed grass. So it was hydrilla mixed with tules and a little bit of hyacinth, and that was just very key for me. And the other one was a Senko, but that caught the slightly smaller fish, even though I did catch a lot of fish on that. But yeah, those are the three key baits for me: D-Bomb, Reaction Innovation Beaver, 5.2. And Strike King spinnerbait 3/8 ounce shad patter.
Well, those tactics, man, helped elevate you 17 places from day one to day two. It was actually tied, but you actually win the Dakota Lithium's Power Move of the Week.
Wow, nice.
So you not only do you get your check, but you get a power box and two. It comes with one 10 amp hour lithium battery, but you get a backup 10 amp hour lithium battery from Dakota Lithium. That's a $330 value. Awesome. Our tiebreaker in this deal is the angler that finishes the highest. So you obviously, with your 17 place jump, finished second best in our field of 50. So congratulations for a little extra frosting on top of that cake, man. That is awesome.
I'll take it.
Congrats, dude.
Thanks, guys.
All right, John. So you had you were on the board, the Tourney X leaderboard, early on day one. Yes. Held kind of the lead for a little while, and kind of just really was pretty consistent overall in your totals over 2 days. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about your early bite on day one, and then go through your weekend with us.
Sure. First, I'd like to congratulate Daniel and Pua for a job well done. When I show up to these tournaments, I show up to win. And congratulations, guys. It's a lot of hard work out there to beat everybody, and you guys did a great job. So the first day, let's see if I get this in the picture here. So St. Croix rod, it's Abu Garcia reel. Let's see. Hold that still. There's the chatterbait I was using, and the Z-Man trailer. That's the exact bait I used for 2 days. All I did was retie it. Okay, check this out. Okay, this thing will stretch like crazy and it goes right back. All right,
Yep.
there's a reason why I use that, and that's the reason. 65-pound braided line. Okay, and this is a Magnum cranker. It's upside down. 7-11-foot rod. I really like long rods. It gives you a lot of leverage. I like long butts on rods, so I can stick it underneath my armpit and get the leverage. First day, the tide bottomed out at 10 or at 9:30, and the second day it bottomed out at 10:30. So the first day it went down to a 1, and what I mean by a 1, so they have like a 0, there's a negative, then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how many feet it goes up. So it went basically out about 1.5 feet from the time I started fishing till 9:30. So I started out throwing some top water. Let me show you this top water. There's a little juice right here.
Man, I'm sorry, guys. I don't have any of my stuff with me.
Man, you blew it. That was it.
Okay, let's see. Let me pull it back a little bit. All right, check out the hooks.
Ready for grass.
Yes, that was the key. So this baby right here, you could run it through some grass, and you get the whopper plopper action. Okay, double buzz bait. I kept getting kind of snagged up in the grass. I fished in less than 3 feet of water all morning, both days. I went 2 miles in thick weeds, and then of course the tide is, when I'm going there, the tide's going out. I get to the berms that I was fishing, and I was fishing the slack side of the berms. What I mean by that, the slack side. So the wind's blowing onto the berm. I'm on the slack side of the berm, and there's a little bit of calmer water, and that's where I got my first 20-inch fish. And I think, all right, man, it's on. I'm gonna get me 20 pounds today. Okay, well, it shrunk from there. Okay, it shrunk, and it shrunk more, and it shrunk more. Well, the tide started going out, and I started getting in the real skinny water. And my best stuff, I had to pull up my skag, pull out my drive, my pedal drive, out of my Hobie, pull up my rudder, and paddle into the current, into the wind, to get to my next spot, which was a bluegill bed. And when I got over to the bluegill bed, it was on. I mean, it's just like the chatterbait. I'd throw that baby out there, and I'd watch my rod, and my rod's just, and it would stop for a second.
How's it go again?
Good one. Thanks, Steve. I do the same thing. So anyways, I'm watching my rod, and as soon as my rod stops, I'd rear back. You wouldn't necessarily feel it, but you'd see it. And when you felt it, it was a good fish. Hey, it was like every cast. Once I catch a fish, you'd have to measure it. You know what I mean? You have to measure it. You got to take the picture, put it on the board. I even covered the number with my tag on one of my fish. It didn't really matter, but AJ sent me this message that, dude, you covered the number. It's the first time I've experienced these metal boards. So anyhow, the tide bottomed out, tide stopped, and I figured, all right, when the tide comes in, I'm gonna start slamming them on this chatterbait. Well, I threw the chatterbait about a half hour longer, and I never got a bite. I wrote, okay, time to change. Hey, you got to tell me twice. So here I am. I'm paddling. I'm not pedaling. I'm paddling. Now the tide's coming in. And now I'm going against the tide again, and I'm paddling again, okay? Dude, hey, I'm 57 years old. I got a workout, okay? Not only with my legs, but with my arms as well. So I get over to this mat. It's super thick mat. And I'm like, I'm done paddling, okay? I'm like exhausted. I got to get a drink of water. So I reach back in my ice chest. I'm taking a drink of water. And I see this bait fish flicker in front of me. And I see this bass just come out of the water and eat it. So what do? I turn around. and I pull out the mullets. Let's see if you can see it. All right,
Oh,
there's the
Super
mullets.
Nato.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you know what I did? Threw it out there, hit the ground, hit the top of the mat, and I gave it a little rip.
How's it go?
You're all right, man. You're all right. Anyways, so I popped it like 2 times and nothing happened. I'm like, oh, dang, you know, come on, fish. Come on, 6-pounder, 6-pounder. I need a 6-pounder. I need a 6-pounder. Give me a 4-pound. I need something. You know, I
Starting
got
to sound like
cold.
Mike Iaconelli
I got
now
a cold.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, you know, and then I stop for a second and I'm thinking to myself, 6-pounder, 6-pounder, 6-pounder. Then I go 3 times. I stop it, boom. I'm like, whoa, yeah, baby. And it comes off. I'm like, what? You know, in a kayak in the weeds, you know, you set the hook, your kayak rolls forward, the fish dives down in that grass, and you're just trying to winch him, and he comes off. I'm like, what? No way. So anyways, so my smallest at the time was like a 15 and a half. I caught 3 fish that went 15 and a quarter. Okay? And I'm having a blast catching these frogfish, but I'm not catching anything big. I'm like, okay, put the frog right away. I need to get over to the punch stuff, right? Here I go. Get the paddle out, and I start paddling again and again and again. For like a half an hour, I finally get over to some pennywort with some hyacinth. I pull up to this point. This is a high percentage spot, okay? Current busting into this point. There's hyacinth and the pennywort. I punch into the hyacinth, and I look at my depth finder. It tells me what time it is. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm running out of time. And I lift up. Hey, that's a little different there. So I reel up, set the hook, and I catch another 15-inch fish. I'm like, okay, you know, I pitch him to the same exact spot after I get repositioned the kayak again. You know what I mean? This is shallow water too. I've probably got 2 feet of water underneath me, and I'm punching into 2 feet of water through the hyacinth and the pennywort. But I'm concentrating on hyacinth because that's where the fish were at. And what clued me onto that was I was punching the pennywort, and then as soon as I punched into the hyacinth, I got bit. So again, I pull up to the same exact point and just caught a fish, punched, threw in there again, punched in there, picked up, it's soft again. I set the hook. I got a 15 and a half. It doesn't help. I'm like, come on, give me a break. So I started paddling again. Okay, I finally get to deep enough water where I can put my drive back in, and it kept clogging up as I'm getting to the next spot. I spent probably an hour and a half each day doing that, basically not fishing, but just trying to move my boat. You know what I mean? Kind of shame on me, but you know, hey, that was fun. It's part of the excitement, right? So I finally get. What's that?
Go ahead.
I finally get to the spot I think I'm going to do really well. And I'm looking at my clock on my depth finder, and I'm like, okay, I got 15 minutes. Okay, what do I do? And there's this one little area, and I pull up to it, and I pitch in there, and I lift up. When I lift up, I see this 5-pounder with my bait in its mouth swimming out. And I'm like, dude, really? I reel up, set the hook, and there's nothing there. And I'm like, oh, man, you know, that was it. There was my 5-pounder, you know. But I wanted a 6. But, you know, hell, I would have been happy with that 5-pounder. Time runs out. So I'm like totally spent, all right? My clothes are soaked with sweat from head to toe. I literally took like 2 sips of water all day. I was intense fishing the whole time. I didn't quit the whole time. You know, I worked really hard at what I was doing. And I reached back to my Gatorade, and my Gatorade was frozen, right? Because I froze it because I wanted, and I take a sip of it, and I get this little tease of Gatorade, right? I'm like, really? So I put that down, I grab my water, and I get a little tease of the water because it's still frozen, you know? So anyways, I started pedaling and paddling. I get back to the launch trap. It takes me like a half an hour to get there. And I'm almost like crying because I'm just like, dude, I just got my butt whooped, you know, working for these fish. But that's cool with me. So I get over to the launch ramp, and I pull my boat out of the water. I look around, there's no one there. I'm like, wow, I guess I'm the only one here. That's cool. But the reason why I wanted to go to Big Break West was I was getting the best part of the outgoing, which is the bottom, and then the best part is the incoming. So you have 20 minutes there, and it's the same with the high tide. So the high tide, it's the last 20 minutes or and the first 20 minutes. So what I mean by the last of the incoming and then the first of the outgoing. Those are the optimal times you want to be fishing on the Delta. Okay. And west, you were able to catch that during the tournament. And then the second day, I did the same thing, except for I pulled the drive up, pulled everything up once I got into the weeds, and I paddled straight over to the bluegill bed, and I caught a ton of fish. And as soon as I got my limit, I posted it on there. And I don't know how many fish I caught on doing that, but I did several. And then there's this long time frame where I'm not on the board at all. Well, you know what I was doing? I was paddling my way back. And I stopped at the weed bed again where I caught those frogfish. And the day before, I was catching 15 and a half inch fish, and I had a 14 and a half. I caught 13 and 14 inch fish this time. I'm like, really? Come on. And it was fun. I hated to leave, but I told myself, all right, that's it. 12 o'clock, I get over about 11:30. I get over to where I had got to that point where I had punched a couple fish, and I looked down. It was less than a foot of water, and I'm like, this ain't gonna work. So I actually went almost all the way back to the marina. There's a harbor where they fix these big iron ships, and there was some hydrilla with the pennywort in there. I punched 2 out of that, and I went to the channel that goes from the marina to the main channel, and I went up and down that for 2 hours. The last half an hour of the day, and I kept telling myself, I need a 6-pounder. I need a 6-pounder. Well, I caught a 20 and a half incher on a half hour to go, and that's what brought me over the top. And I knew if I kept doing the punching, I'd get something good. And that's basically how my 2 days went. And I tell you what, today I'm not sore today, but I was sore the last 2 days. From paddling, not pedaling, but paddling. Yes.
Yeah. 3 days to get over a 2-day tournament. That's not a good ratio.
Man, he wore me out on that one. I'm tired of listening to it.
I loved it so much. I love fishing. I love working hard at what I do and stuff. Let me just show you. This is my punch rig. Let me see. There we go. So I no skirt. It's the Rage Crawl California. It's got red flake in it. I like red flake. My chatterbait had red in it as well. On the Delta red, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. A little red flake, a little red, But the key to catching the better fish on the second day was definitely the hyacinth. Yes, punch the hyacinth. Yeah. I had a blast. And hey, I want to thank Hobie too, man. You guys rock, And AJ, I think in order to make it better since it was all this COVID-19 stuff, I think next year you need to come back out and be up close and personal with everybody.
We'll see. We're in the schedule. We're in the schedule process right now. We're trying to figure out how it all comes together for next year. But the other side of what we do at the Hobie Bass Open Series is, obviously we've got our opens. And this year we had 9. And, you can just show up and fish. You don't have any real strings attached. You don't have any of that stuff. But the 3 top anglers of that event qualify for our championship. So our championship is 50 anglers. This year they're gathering in Knoxville, Tennessee. They're going to be fishing the headwaters of the Tennessee River, which are 2 rivers. The French Broad and the Holston are coming out of their respective dams, coming together to make the Tennessee River at a lake called Fort Loudon and another lake right there called Tellico. And not this year, but the year before, it's the same waters with a little bit extra water added in the headwaters that the Bassmaster Classic was on, that Ott Defoe was the winner there. So we are fishing classic championship waters for our championship. We are looking to have over $60,000 paid out to the top 10 anglers in that event. We're still working with the fine folks in Knoxville right now to understand exactly what things are looking like, but we expect to have all 50 of our anglers together. We feed our anglers all 3 nights. A lot of people bring family, and last year we had, I think, 4 of the 7 Californians that qualified flew out. And we do anything we can to help anglers that have travel restraints with gear. And we're happy to help. We want you guys to be a part of our championship because you guys earned it. So whether you're coming or not, what does it feel like to qualify for a next level premium style championship where you're fishing against 50, you're fishing against 49 other of the best kayak anglers in the entire country? We'll start with you, Daniel, as our champion. What does that feel like to qualify for that? Won't put any pressure on you right now. I know it's hard to work with work logistics and travel logistics, but just to know that you did something that only so many people in this sport in the country were able to do that are trying to do. What kind of feeling is that, man?
It feels great. I'm excited. I plan on going. I'm like almost positive I'm going to go. So, yeah, it'll be interesting competing with those guys. I know all these guys are, big sticks. It'll be interesting to see what I can do out there.
Absolutely, man. What about you, Puop?
Yeah, man, this is still very all so surreal for me, man. I mean, you're talking about 49 guys that, most of them know the Delta all too well, and just to come into second, it just to finish second just feels so surreal, man. But I plan on coming to the TLC just because it's a lifetime experience, to get this opportunity. I want to go ahead and take it and, see what I could do out there.
Absolutely. John?
Yeah, I like Pua's voice. Pua, you could be a broadcaster or an MC. I had to throw that out there.
That's just my fake voice.
This is a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and hell yeah, I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna open up a number 10 can of whoop ass on everybody. I don't show up to play. I show up to win. And if you beat me, then I'm happy for you. But I tell you what, I might even bring a 55-gallon barrel of whoop ass if I could. But I think the number 10 can be a little easier to bring with me. Hell yeah, I'm going.
Well, that's awesome. So, we've pretty much set up, as far as our automatic qualifiers go, which is the top 3 non-qualified anglers in all of our opens. We've been through almost our whole schedule. We've just got 2 more events left. We've got Lake Dardanelle in Russellville, Arkansas, coming up in mid-September. We got 3 anglers that are going to qualify for that. And then just a few weeks after that, we go to Gadsden, Alabama. We're fishing the Upper Coosa chain. We'll be on Lakes Neely Henry and Lake Weiss, and we'll take 3 anglers from that. And then after that deal, we will take the top 20 that are unqualified at that point, and they will fill up the rest of our field. That'll leave us with 48 total anglers at that point. And then there is a last chance qualifier the Friday before the TOC that is open, and you can actually fish that event too. A lot of anglers like to double dip. We'll be kind of releasing some of that as well, but the top 2 non-qualified in that shootout will fill our last 2 spots. They'll come over and just in time for dinner with you guys, and we'll get everybody amped up for 2 awesome days in a beautiful part of Tennessee, a fun city, really unique fisheries, and we are super excited that you guys are excited. That is one of my favorite things about this, is when we can really connect everybody in this country in our championship. And then the other side of that, when you're fishing the TOC, the winner of the TOC takes a fit spot for the Hobie Fishing Worlds. So out of those 50 guys, the top angler in that event is going to have a chance to go to that next level and fish internationally against international competitors in one of the most fun events that you could possibly experience in kayak fishing. So you guys definitely earned this, and we're getting to that time, but I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to say anything that you want to, and thank anybody, anything that you want to do, and your kind of closing remarks. We'll start with you, John.
Okay. First of all, Super Clean. I Super Clean took me on as a sponsor, and I really appreciate all their hard work. If you haven't tried their product yet, you need to try it. The stuff really works. St. Croix rods. Some of the best rods that are built, and they're built in the U.S. They have a rod for everything: fly fishing, deep sea fishing, bass fishing. Stage Shop, a local shop here in Atwater. A buddy of mine owns it, and he's got archery. He has a gun range. They sell guns and ammo as well. They have classes there for beginning hunters and CCW holders. Ryan Cook Fishing. A long time ago, this kid comes up to me and says, "Hey, will you bring me fishing?" He's a guide now on our Motherlode lakes, and he's a really good fisherman. You need to look him up if you're in the Central Valley in California. RC Fishing, Ryan Cook. Headwaters Kayak in Lodi, and Headwaters Adventure in Redding. These guys are great guys. That's where I got my kayak from. They're really great people. Dan Arbuckle, he's in Lodi, and Brian's in Redding. Call them up, contact them, whatever you need, they'll take care of you. Wild West Bass Trail, they really fixed me up with the opportunity to start fishing kayak tournaments. And they've been a huge help with me with Super Clean as well, and get me started and some sponsors. I really appreciate them coming out to the west side and to the west and starting kayak tournaments. Daniel, I'm glad you're fishing them too, man. It's awesome fishing them. Hobie, man, you guys are awesome. The Open Bass Series, I wish there was more of them close by. I'd fish every one of them. They're a lot of fun. If you haven't fished any, you need to. You need to check it out. You need to get out and fish these kayak tournaments. They're a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm married. I have 2 kids. My kids are grown and moved out, and I have grandchildren. And without them, I wouldn't be here right now. And I want to thank my wife for everything she does. She gets up in the morning every morning and makes me breakfast before I go fishing. If that's at 2 a.m., it's at 2 a.m. And when I get home, she gets me dinner, man. I tell you what, I got me a keeper. And it's been 36 years of keeping, and it's going to keep on keeping. And, AJ, Steve, Daniel Pua, you guys rock, man. I can't wait to compete against you again, man. You guys see me out there, man. Come up, man. Talk to me. Hey, I'll tell you how I'm catching fish, man. I ain't got a problem doing that. I love to let people know what's going on. And that's just me. You ever see me, please come up, man. Let's talk, man. We need to switch numbers too before this is done, so we could, kind of get ready for the Tennessee River, man. Yeah.
I'm ready. I agree.
Ready.
I'm gonna have to get that background music they do in the music awards. They play and it's a little signal. Hey, we got another program coming up here in an hour.
Yeah, I'm a little long-winded. Sorry, guys, man.
The best thing is you got your family in there, so you get some brownie points. That's the number one thing right there. Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, definitely.
That's right. All right, Pua, any closing remarks, man?
Yeah, man. I want to thank my wife and my mom. I mean, I got kids too, so whenever I'm out playing, pre-fishing and doing this event, they were there, taking care of the kids and handling, taking care of stuff at home. So big thanks to my wife especially, and then my mom too. And I want to thank my brother and my brother-in-law, Say, and Tony, my cousin Yia, um, all the guys at Yin Yang Bulldogs, LNC Automotive, Ghost Company, Young's Custom Baits, and Sue Vang from Fresh and Salty. And then I wouldn't have done it without all this gear. I mean, I'm not sponsored by any of these guys by any means, but I wouldn't have been able to done it without them. But Shimano reels, Seagar Tatsu line, Daiwa Samurai braid, Powell rods, Reaction Innovations, Missile Baits, Strike King spinner baits, Gary Yamamoto custom baits, Aftico, NRS, and last but not least, man, Hobie, man. Thank you guys, man, for coming to the Delta, and you guys make the best kayaks, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Pua. All right, Daniel, the champ, close us down, man. What do you got for us?
I want to give like a humongous shout out to Bob Zhang. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get my catchboard in time. I called you, I don't know, a couple nights before, and there was a discrepancy whether you could use a hog trough and the catch. And yeah, he came through. I want to thank you because you sent me the link to where guys were actually offering their catchboards. Anybody that needed one, I really appreciate that, AJ. That was awesome. Yeah, Bob, he just won the Wild West at Don Pedro and had like a monster 22-inch fish. But yeah, thanks a lot, Bob. I appreciate you. I want to another huge shout out to my girlfriend, my lovely girlfriend Monique. I received my catchboard Friday night, and she drove it an hour and 45 minutes, 100-degree weather, out there to me. I was fishing with a buddy. I used Bob's, he used mine, and without her, we couldn't have done it. So I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank Hobie for throwing a great event. Thanks, AJ. I'd like to say what's up to Bass and Tubes, B&T crew, all you guys out there. What's up? My buddy Scotty, who he does these awesome paint jobs, like this guy right here. They catch fish too. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks to everybody. And I also want to congratulate Pua and John. It was awesome. I'll see you guys at the TOC.
Hey,
All
thanks,
right,
Daniel.
Yeah. Way to whoop on everybody, Daniel.
Yeah.
No luck.
Absolutely, guys. Well, I want to thank you all. You guys were awesome tonight. This was our first time doing a live recap like this. Normally, we kind of do it on a stage, and I like this a lot. It's a little more intimate. We get to spend more time talking about all the juice, and really, I mean, the knowledge that you all were dropping in this thing was phenomenal. I mean, really, really impressive with that. And I appreciate you guys sharing that. I know that your all's waters that you'll compete on again, and you guys definitely let some good stuff out. We appreciate that. You guys were a lot of fun to talk to. Can't wait to get to meet you guys and see you guys in Knoxville, and we'll be communicating with you on all the details with that. And we will be communicating with all the rest of the anglers that want to participate in our last 3 events before our championship. We'll be getting all that stuff updated on Tourney X. I appreciate y'all's patience with me. It's a grind out here. We're going to get you updated here real quick. Guys, thank you all again. This was a blast. You guys enjoy your top placings. You guys earned it, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks,
All right,
AJ.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks, Steve.
And Steve.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank